Okay, let's get started. Hello and welcome to this month's FM Academy session. Today we're going to cover a case study demonstrating the benefits of going from a paper-based process to an iPad-based process using FileMaker Go. The main goal is to help get the creative juices flowing on how you can use FileMaker Go to streamline paper-based or spreadsheet-based processes in your business. The FM Academy is a consortium of 7 FileMaker Platinum level companies spread across the United States. We bring you monthly training seminars for free. When this session is over, it'll be posted on the FM Academy website, and all previous webinars are also available on the website. A little about me. I'm a tech lead here at DB Services. I'm certified in the last 4 versions, 13 through 10. I've been working in the FileMaker industry for over the last 8 years. I've got my requisite 10,000 hours in, and hopefully I can get many more 10,000 hours in. I'm an authorized FileMaker trainer. I've had a couple articles highlighted in the monthly FileMaker newsletter, and a little bit about me personally. I'm a lover of all things science. Science is, my second love next to FileMaker. So a little bit about my company, DB Services. We are a sponsor at the FileMaker Developer Conference. We have a strong global presence. We have customers from most of the continents out there. I believe we're missing Antarctica, but I don't think we should worry too much about that one. Our mission statement is we're a team focused on adding value. Anything you have us do, any services that we render to you, ultimately we want those to provide value and have a return on your investment. Please check out our website at www.dbservices.com for more information. If you have questions during the presentation, please enter them in the questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel. I will not be able to see your questions during the presentation, but at the end I will review them and answer as many as possible. Let's get into this. All right, so the agenda today, we're going to go over the benefits of going paperless. We'll also talk about the benefits of FileMaker Go and the FileMaker platform. Then we'll dive into a case study looking at an inventory collection process that transitioned over from paper to iPad using FileMaker Go. And then we'll get into a little bit of demos on how to get up and running with a starter solution and how easy it is to customize it to get it to work in FileMaker Go. Okay, why go paperless? There are a number of reasons. My opinion, one of the biggest reasons is that you can retrieve your data much more quickly if it's digital versus if it's paper. Wading through paper is slow, even with the best organizational methods. Another obvious win for going paperless, you can eliminate the burden of physical storage. There's no need for all those folders, papers, filing cabinets cluttering up your workspace. It's also much easier to share data if it's digital. If you wanted to share paper, you would need to physically hand it to someone, mail it, scan it, etc. And not only is it easier to share digital data, but you can also increase the accuracy of your data through drop-down lists, checkbox sets, validation rules, things like that you wouldn't be able to get with paper-based forms. And while paper has a few benefits from a security standpoint, overall you can secure your data much better by making it digital, especially because backups. You can back up digital data much easier than physical data. Paper backups are laborious, they're time-consuming, and most importantly, it's a manual process. With digital data, you can automate your backups, and that will give you the greatest security on your data. So the benefits of FileMaker Go and the platform, the biggest benefit of Go is that you can deploy your solutions to mobile users and iOS devices, iPads, iPhones, and iTouches. And because you have a mobile workforce, you can collect data real time out in the field, and FileMaker Go has a number of features out of the box that make real-time data collection much easier, such as barcode, signature, and photo capture. When it comes to FileMaker as a platform, you can leverage it as a RAD platform, a rapid application development platform, to quickly develop effective and professional solutions customized to your needs. But keep in mind that FileMaker Go is only going to run your application. You need FileMaker Go to design your application, to build your application. You would use Pro on the desktop, and then you would use Go to deploy the solution to your mobile users. All right, so let's get into the case study. So today we're looking at iScience. In particular, I'll walk you through the transition stages of their inventory collection process. And they started out paper-based, and they transitioned to spreadsheets, and then they ultimately ended up with an iPad application in FileMaker Go. Okay, so a little bit of background on iScience. What do? They design what spaces and equipment are needed in new or revamped STEM facilities, facilities like hospitals or laboratory centers, things like that. So they help design and plan, the equipment and the spaces for this. And then once the planning's done, they then procure the equipment for each space. They were established in 1993. They're headquartered in Glendale, Arizona. They have over 50 employees across the globe. They work on fairly large projects. These facilities are over 1 million square feet in size. So the latest two projects that they work on, to give you an idea here, their current, one of their big ones right now is the LSU UMC project. That's the University Medical Center for Louisiana State University. That particular project is a medical center that's replacing Charity, which was the previous hospital that was rendered useless during Katrina. The budget for the LSU UMC project is $1.75 million for equipment and furniture, and the construction was at $1.3 billion, and they're currently in progress, and they expect to open up July 1st, 2015. The other project that was just completed recently was the Wishard Hospital that was revamped and replaced with the Eskenazi Hospital here in Indianapolis, and that actually opened up last December. Okay, so here are two screenshots of the previous systems that were used by iScience. The one on the left was the paper form that they used back in the 90s, and the one on the right was the spreadsheet system that they used in the early 2000s. So a little bit of background on why iScience needs to collect inventory in the first place is a lot of times they are helping plan out a new facility that's replacing an old one, like the LSU UMC facility. So they're not going to purchase all new equipment for this facility. If they can reuse equipment from the old facility, they'll do it. So iScience, that's one of the first things they do is they go through the old facility and they catalog every single piece of equipment, every single piece of furniture. They take a photo of each equipment, each furniture, and they type in, they log information about that piece of equipment, like its model number, its manufacturer, what location it's in the building, its condition, things like that. And then after they've gone and collected all this information, they then will go through and decide what things are reusable or not. And once they've gotten that list, then they know what new equipment to purchase, and they move on with the rest of the project. So collecting this information is vitally important, and it's important to be done in a quick amount of time because the project's got to move forward. So when it came back to the 90s, when they were using the paper-based form there on the left, what they would do is they would send out teams of two. One person would fill in the paper form while the other person had a camera. It was actually a film camera. This was back in the day. And they would, that person would take a photo and then tell the other person with the paper form what the photo number was and the film number, so that you could later go back and find that photo for each particular inventory record. So at the end of the day, the teams would go back to the office, and they would then have someone transcribe all the paper forms to a spreadsheet on a desktop, which you can imagine is that's a ton of double data entry there, and that takes a lot of time, and it's very inefficient. So this whole process was very time consuming, but that was what they started with. So in the 2000s, in the mid 2000s, when laptops became more ubiquitous, actually more towards the beginning of the 2000s, they transitioned to having the teams carry around laptops, and then digital camera instead of a film camera. So immediately you got some efficiency gains there. You didn't have double data entry when you went from paper to spreadsheet. There's no more paper anymore. The person with a laptop would just type directly into a spreadsheet. And but there were still some issues with this. Particularly the photos were still a cumbersome process. You had to get the photos from digital camera back to the centralized copy at the office, back in the centralized desktop machine at the office. And same thing with the spreadsheets. They'd have to collate all the spreadsheets from all the different laptops into a centralized copy. And so with these photos, one of the things you have to do is you have to make sure that the photo names were unique for every inventory record so that you could find it and there weren't any collisions there. And the other big thing with this too is that the photos weren't in line with the spreadsheet. When you're looking at the spreadsheet and you're trying to determine whether a piece of equipment is reusable or not, you can't see it there in the spreadsheet. You have to actually go hunt for it in Finder or in Windows Explorer, and so that took a lot of time. That was a pretty inefficient process. Data entry was also inconsistent as there weren't any drop-down lists, there weren't any checkbox sets, etc. So there's variability going on there with the kind of data that was being inputted. And you're also dealing with battery life. Every room they went into, they were always hunting for outlets to plug in their laptops and make sure that there was enough juice to be able to go through a whole day's inventory. So that definitely would slow you down as well, looking for outlets. So those were what iScience started with. And so they came in contact first with FileMaker Go back in the beginning of the 2010s with the Wishard Hospital project. There was a time crunch with this particular project that caused iScience to look for a more efficient way to collect inventory than what they were doing. They could not collect it in the amount of time they needed to with the teams of two with a laptop and a digital camera. So Jerry, the owner of iScience, started Googling, trying to find inventory systems that could fill the need that he was looking for, but everything he found was either too bloated or too complex. He wanted an iPad system in particular. He had seen the power of what iPhones and iPads can do for a mobile workforce, so that's what he was looking for, and he ended up coming across FileMaker and FileMaker Go. So what he ended up doing was he created a inventory starter solution for FileMaker 12, and he did it on a weekend, and he customized what he needed to customize all in the same weekend, and then put the solution into production the next week, and that's what they used to collect all the inventory that they needed to for the Wishard project. So some of the things that he did for customizations included adding fields relevant to his business and removing others that weren't. As with the starter solution, there's going to be things on there that will be useful, some things that won't. So he customized that. He changed styling. He added drop-down lists and checkbox sets, and he did all this. And he didn't have any formal FileMaker training whatsoever. It's a testament to how easy it is to get up and running with a solution in FileMaker. So what this did, well, actually, before we get into that, the other big thing that this did for him too is that he was able to capture photos using the iPad's built-in camera, and then he was able to store the photo directly in the inventory record. So now everything was in line. You don't have to go hunt for the photos. They're directly with the data. It makes the review process much more efficient. So what this did is that it removed the need to have two people per team. He was able to eliminate one of the people, and you can just have one person with an iPad go around, do the data entry, and take the photo. So that was one of the big reasons they were able to go around and catalog all the inventory, because now two people, you can split out those two people and they can cover double the ground. So at the end of each day, they would still collate the data, and what Jerry did was he would get a copy of the FileMaker Go solutions from each person, and then he would manually import the data into a master copy on a desktop. And this was totally fine for his needs. It worked great. The import process was not complex at all for him. There's certainly a lot of other ways that you can collate data into a master copy, and we can get into that during the Q&A session. So that inventory starter solution, that's actually not what they're using now. The final thing that they're using today for the LSU UMC project is a custom-built solution that we built for them, we being DB Services over here. Jerry had contacted us towards the beginning of the LSU UMC project to help him build auto-populating data into these inventory records when they would type in what's called a tag number, which is these tag numbers would be on like the individual pieces of equipment, and they were numbers that were normally assigned by the facility itself or by the state, and the facility or the state gave them a spreadsheet that had these tag numbers in it, and each of these records would have an associated description and then the manufacturer, make, model, number, etc. So they it saved them a ton of data entry time that they didn't need to do now, and it also increased the accuracy of their data, because people aren't manually, you can make typos if you manually type things in. The other thing we helped them to do as well is to be able to use a third-party Bluetooth barcode scanner to fill in the tag number. So again, trying to increase the speed and the accuracy of data entry, because you could mistype a tag number and then nothing fills in and you go fill it in by hand. But with a barcode scanner, there's no inaccuracy there. So this, from the jump from the starter solution to this current iteration of the FileMaker Go system, increased efficiency close to another 100% to be able to go around and collect inventory. So, from paper to the current iPad system, I mean, you're looking at a threefold increase with much greater accuracy collecting all this data, and that ultimately resulted in lower fees for their clients and greater profit margins for iScience. Okay, so let's go and dive into some of these demos here. I'm going to show you how to create a starter solution, and then we'll take a look at the starter solution that Jerry at iScience customized, and I'll show you how easy it is to add a drop-down list to that starter solution. We'll also take a look at adding the ability to capture photos, and then I'll show you auto-populating the data using the tag number, both with a 3D barcode scanner and then a native barcode scanner. And then I'll show you how Jerry imported records into a master copy, just to give you a sense of the entire workflow here. Okay, let's get going. All right, so when it comes to designing solutions, to creating solutions, you've got to use FileMaker Pro on the desktop. So I have FileMaker Pro right here, FileMaker Pro Advanced. So I am going to So the way to create a starter solution is you go up to the File menu right here, and then you do New from Starter Solution. And in the case of Jerry's example, he just went in and he said, oh, I need an inventory solution, so let me go and do that. So I chose inventory. And you press the choose button and it asks you where you want to save it. So I'm going to save it to my desktop. And there you go. So this is the starter solution here in FileMaker 13. And this is what Jerry ended up customizing over that weekend, is he took this and made changes to it. So that's how easy it is to get up and running with starter solution. So let me go ahead and close that. So let me show you Jerry's copy. Okay. So we've got this Wishard furniture system here. He had renamed the inventory system to Wishard furniture. So I'm going to go, and if you click into the layout menu here, you'll see there's screens for desktop, iPad, iPhone. The starter solutions have different screens for different devices, so you get that out of the box. Let's go ahead and go to the inventory iPad here, and there's a couple of examples that we have from that project. So this is ultimately the screen that he customized, that he spent a lot of time on. This is definitely not what the original screen looked like. He ended up adding fields that were relevant for their workflow, like this department, the room name, room number definitely aren't something that are in the starter solution. That's Jerry did that. These checkbox sets over here on the right, he had added those, and he had rearranged everything so it flowed based on the way that they entered in data. So let me go ahead and show you how to add a drop-down list to a field, just to give you an idea how easy this is. So I'm going to use I'm in layout mode right now. I don't know if, let me go back to browse mode here. So layout mode is where you make changes to a screen. So I'm flipping to layout mode, and it looks very similar to what you would see in browse mode. So I'm going to click on Dimensions field here to highlight it, and then I'm going to, up in the Inspector palette here, right now the control style is just a regular edit box. I'm going to change that to a drop-down list, and then it's asking you values from, and so I need a value list to populate this drop-down list. So I'm going to press the little pencil icon here, and then I'm going to press the new button to make a new value list. So let's just call it dimensions. And then I'm going to just add a couple of values here, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3. All right, we've created that. All right, so we just created a value list and we tied it to the dimensions field here. And now I'm going to go into browse mode. And when I click into the field, there you go. Our drop-down list is right there. If I click on 2 times 2, it fills in the dimension field with that value. So that's how easy it is to start customizing some of this data entry and to increase the accuracy of your data entry. When it comes to checkbox sets, it's the exact same idea as the drop-down list. All you do is change the control style to checkbox set. So let's do that just to show you. You can see here that this field now looks like a checkbox set, and it's using the same values that were in the value list that we just created. All right, I'm going to change this back to a drop-down list. Okay, so next I want to show you is, so now that you've made this change, right, how do I get my mobile users to be able to use this new version that has this dimensions drop-down list? So there are a number of ways to do that. The 3 most common ways are you can use iTunes to move this file to a device that's connected to your desktop machine, and that's what I'm going to show you here today. The other way is you could email this file as an attachment, and you could also email them your users a download link, and they could just download it from there. So those are the 3 main ways to deploy a new version. So let me go and show you the iTunes way here. So I'm going to close this file, and I'm going to open up iTunes. So right now let's go back to library. So this is normally, when you open up iTunes, you normally see this screen. So I have my iPad connected right now to my desktop. So I'm going to click on that. And then if you go under the apps and scroll down, you should see FileMaker Go in the apps list. And then on the right, you'll see the FileMaker Go documents. Those are your FileMaker files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move let me get this guy situated here. I'm going to move the Wishard furniture file to the documents list here. And then that's it. It's now on my iPad. So let me go ahead and bring up my iPad just to show you guys. Let me get it up on the screen here. Okay. One second. All right. So you should be able to see my iPad here. I'm going to go ahead and open up FileMaker Go, and then you can see all the files on your device and on your iPad. In my case, by tapping on the device here on the left, and you'll see the Wishard furniture file is there. So I'm going to tap on that, and I'm presented with the list view of inventory records. So let me just tap on one of these, and if I tap on the dimensions field, you'll see, there we go. We have my value list that I just added from the desktop in Pro. I now have it on my iPad here. So that is how you can deploy a new version of a FileMaker solution to a mobile user. So the other thing I want to show you now is photo capture. So I'm going to make a new inventory record. There's a little plus button in the top right. I'm going to tap on that. And so this is a new record. So one of the things you'll notice is there's this tap to add an image. This is where you can add a photo. And this came out of the box this way. This photo field was already in the inventory starter solution. So I want to show you how it works. So I just tap on the box, and then it'll present me with a bunch of options here. I can actually capture a signature from here. You can put music in here, but in this case, I want to use my camera to take a photo. So I'm going to tap on that, and you can see here my little rig. I got a Mac Mini, so I'm going to take a photo of this guy, and I'm going to go ahead and press the Use Photo, and there we go. The photo I just snapped with my camera is now attached to the current inventory record I'm on. So that was a huge, huge gain for iScience. But you can do this again with signature. You can capture signatures this way. You can put in audio files this way. There's a lot of things you can do with these kind of boxes here, these what are called container fields. So I'm going to show you how to set one of these up, because just to show you how easy it is to do. So I'm going to close the current Wishard file I have on my iPad here, and then I'm going to get rid of my iPad for now, and I'm going to go back to FileMaker Pro. Let's go ahead and open up the Wishard file here on the desktop. Now let's go back to that iPad screen, the one that I put the dimensions value list on. So what I want to do here is I want to add a second photo field, just to show you guys how to add a photo to a record. So I'm going to go in the layout mode, and then I'm going to go up to File, Manage, Database to go into the database part of your solution. The reason I need to do this is because I need to add a new field to the inventory record. In this case, I need to add a Photo 2 field. So let's do a Photo 2 field here. I'm going to change the type to container, because when it comes to storing binary data like photos or audio files or videos, that's what you use the container type for. So I'm going to press Create, and I'm going to press OK here. Okay, now I've created the Photo 2 field. Now I just need to put it on my layout so that users can interact with it. So I'm going to bring down the field picker here, and this is a way to get fields on a layout. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. I'm looking at my inventory table, all the fields in the inventory table. I've got my Photo 2 field right here. I'm going to drag it up to the top, and I'm going to get rid of the label. It's not needed. I'm also going to shrink it up because we don't have a lot of space up here. I'm just going to put it right there. So let's go into browse mode, and there we go. We have our Photo 2 field right there, and so now I can take a second photo and attach it to this inventory record. So let's go ahead and get this new version on my iPad. So same way as what we did before, let's bring up iTunes, and let's drag the Wishard file into here. And yes, I do want to replace, so let's do that. All right, let's show you the iPad here. Let's open up the Wishard file, and let's go in here, and you'll see we have that new field, that new Photo 2 field. So just to show you that it works the exact same way as the original photo field, I'm just going to tap on it, and I get presented with the same options as before. So let's do camera, and I'll take a picture of the base here of my monitor. Let's use that, and there you go. The photo is now associated with this inventory record. So I have two photos with this one inventory record. But the point is that that was very, very straightforward, very easy to get photos, photo capture up and running with FileMaker Go. And again, you can, signatures, same way, very easy to do signature capture with FileMaker Go. So, all right, the next thing I want to show you is the existing system, the current system that they use, that iScience uses to for their inventory collection process that we, DB Services, had built. Let me go and open this up in Pro. So I'm going to actually, let me go ahead and move this thing to my iPad just so it's on my iPad. Let's bring up iTunes again. And I am going to, actually I have a copy right here, so we don't need to move it, it's already there. So let's bring up the iPad and go to devices. I have this inventory tracker file. I'm going to tap that to open it. Okay, so this is the solution that we built for them. You'll see up here there's three modules. You've got the inventory records, and then we have the financial assets, and then CE equipment. The financial asset and CE equipment areas are those places that have the tag numbers in them. that's where we get all the data to auto-populate the inventory records. So you can, iScience, there were 2 different types of tag numbers that they were dealing with in this particular project, and so that's why they have these 2 different modules here. But you can see right here when you fill in an inventory record, you either fill in an asset number or a CE number. Either way, you type in an existing number, it's going to fill in the information in this record, or at least as much as it can. So let me go and show you that. I'm going to tap new item there in the top right. So that, I have the choice of filling in any of these numbers here. I'm going to go ahead and type out one of these numbers I have handy. So we're looking at 15400135180, and then I'm going to go to the next field here. All right, you will see that it filled in the description. If I go into the details there, it filled in the manufacturer and the make, the model, the serial number, and also the utilization year. So there was a lot of data that was just populated by typing in that asset numbers. That saved a lot of time on data entry in this particular project. The location information actually auto-filled when I created a new record, because with the way that iScience's workflow is, you're going from room to room, right? And within each room, you are cataloging each equipment that's in there. So more than likely, the previous record you created is going to have the same room information as the new record. So when you create the new record, it just populates based on the previous record you were on, the building, the floor, the department, the room, title, etc. So that saved them also a ton of data entry time and increased accuracy there. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you barcode scanning. So instead of typing in that number, which can be error-prone, instead what we can do is we can use a barcode scanner to scan the side of the piece of equipment that has this asset number as a barcode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up, I have a little webcam here so you can see. How you doing, guys? You can see I've got my iPad here that you guys are seeing reflected on the screen up there. I also have a Bluetooth barcode scanner that acts as a keyboard emulator. And you can, these are basically what you would find if you want to do Bluetooth barcode scanning in an iOS device. So I also have a barcode here of that same asset number I manually typed in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new inventory record. So I'm going to tap there, new inventory record. And then I am going to scan the barcode. And you should see it populate. There we go. So you notice in the iPad system, it populated the asset number based on the barcode I just scanned. Boom. There you go. So no manual typing. That's faster than typing, especially on an iPad. And you've got more accurate data entry there. So it's as simple as that. All you need when it comes to these barcode scanners, these Bluetooth barcode scanners, all you need to do is just put the cursor inside the field that you want to then, put the barcode into. So it's pretty straightforward. You can get up and running with these really quickly. The other thing I wanted to show you, let's go ahead and get rid of the webcam there. The other way that you could do this is with FileMaker Go's native barcode scanning. So what I want to do is I actually want to show you how to set that up, because that is also another very quick thing to do, very easy thing to do. So I'm going to open up the inventory tracker here on Pro on my desktop, so I can go and do some code changes here. So I'm going to add a scan button on the screen to use the native barcode scanning in FileMaker Go. So I'm in the layout mode right now, and I'm going to add a button to right next to the asset number tag. So there's this little button tool that's on the status toolbar. I'm just going to make a button, and there is a script step. So on the left here, all the various script steps that you have available to you. I'm going to use the one that will insert data from a scanned barcode. So that's the insert from device script step. And the first thing you got to tell FileMaker is what field do you want the barcode information to go into. So in this case, we want to use the asset number field, which you can see the name of it in layout mode right there. So we want this guy. It's a little bit of a geeky name, but that's what we want. And then insert from, we don't want to use the camera because we're not taking a photo. We want to use the barcode. Well, we're going to use the camera, but in this case, we got to tell FileMaker we're actually trying to scan a barcode here. So in this screen, you don't need to change anything. FileMaker has a bunch of different barcode fonts that it supports out of the box. You can just keep all these checked. Shouldn't be a problem. I'm going to press OK, and I'm going to press OK. And let me go ahead and label this button. So scan, super. Let's go into browse mode here. So there we go. I got my scan button. That's all I needed to do. So now let's get this new version on my iPad. Bring out trusty iTunes here. Let's go and drag my new version to here, and I do want to replace, so let's do that. And get rid of iTunes, let's bring back up the iPad. Okay, let's open up the new inventory tracker with a scan button. So let's tap in there, you can see it's right there. So let me go, I want to make sure I got, okay, we're good. All right, so I'm going to press the new item button just to make a new item, and then now in this case, I'm going to press the scan button. So this is going to bring up, let me do that again. I think it tried to take a photo of my iPad cover there. Okay, so it is using the camera as the barcode reader. So what you do is you put the barcode, let's see how well I can get this to go. You put the barcode up in the camera until it's satisfied and it can make out what you're doing, and then it'll read it, and boom, it's done. So that is the native barcode scanning in FileMaker Go. And when it comes to which one would you use, the wireless Bluetooth barcode scanner or the native FileMaker scanning, a lot of it comes down to how quickly you need to do scanning and how accurate. Like if you have like a ton of barcodes on one little piece of paper, probably going to want to go with the wireless because you can be much more accurate on that. But if you're just if you're just scanning a barcode on the side of a piece of equipment, there's no way you're going to hit other barcodes. This native solution should work just fine for you. So that's how easy it is to set up native barcode capture in FileMaker Go. Okay, so let's take one look at one more thing here before we're done with the demos. I want to show you how Jerry imported data from the various offline files every night into the master. So let's bring back up the iPad here. I'm going to close the inventory tracker, and let's go back to the files on the device. So I have this inventory tracker mobile file here. Let me just tap on that. And it's just a copy of the inventory tracker we've seen before. It has a couple records in it, 4 records. I'm going to make a new one for a 5th record. We'll just say test for the asset number. That thing doesn't exist. That's why it says not found here. We tried to make this little found and not found, the green and the red indicator. We also tried to minimize, we tried to increase the accuracy of data entry. If they were typing in the asset number by hand, we wanted to let them know if that was a real one or not, instead of, them not, realizing it or not. So that's what that's for. I'm just going to do tests there, and that's it. So we have 5 records here. You can see them, these 5 records, and let's say that's what I gathered for today. So I want to give this back to Jerry, and Jerry's going to then put it into the master. So I'm going to close this on my iPad, and then I'm going to go into iTunes with my iPad connected. So I've got the mobile file here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that guy to my desktop. So now it's there. Okay, so I'm going to open up the master file. So let's pretend I'm Jerry now. I've got this one local file I need to import into the master. So I have this inventory tracker master file. So I'm going to open it up. So this has 5 records in it. So what I'm going to do is, let me go ahead and just so we don't have even numbers of records. I'm just going to delete a couple of these. So the master has 3 records, all right? 3 records, and the offline has 5. So when we combine them, there should be 8 records total in this master file. So I'm going to go to import records from one FileMaker file into the current one you're in. I'm going to go up to File, and then Import Records, File, and then I'm going to go hunt for my offline file, my mobile file, which is on the desktop, so I'm going to double click on that. And so this is where most of the complexity comes into this process, but it's pretty straightforward. The first thing you need to do is make sure that the table you're importing from, and this source is the offline file. So you're looking at a table from the offline file. I don't want the financial asset table, I want the inventory table because I'm importing inventory records. So make sure that these guys match. And then as far as what FileMaker needs to do to match up the fields, to map the fields, let's do matching names because they're identical copies of each other. So we should be able to just match up based on names, and you'll see that all the arrows are pointing properly and we got everything mapped together here. And then up and down here in the import actions, you just want to make sure that you have add new records checked because we're just trying to add brand new records here. So I'm going to press the import button, and then the other thing it's going to ask you, do you want to fire auto enter options while importing? In this case, we do not. We just want to import exactly what was in the offline copy. So I press the import button, and then it gives you a little summary. It says import record summary, and it tells you if there's any errors or not. In this case, there was not. We just added 5 records. And you can see here that we have our 5 records from the offline. And if I do a show all to see all records in the inventory table, I have 8, which is what I was looking for. So that is how data was collated into a master copy in iScience's case. But you can get real fancy with this. There are syncing solutions out there that you can use to sync data from an offline copy to a master. You know, if you're always going to have good connectivity, I highly recommend that you just go down FileMaker Server, and what you can do there is that you can have all your mobile users just connect to the live master copy, and then they can just create records on that. As long as they have good internet connectivity, that is by far the easiest way to get data all in the same place. So in this case with iScience, they didn't have guaranteed good internet connectivity, and they just didn't want to go down a syncing solution. It just didn't make sense for them at the time. So, okay, that's it for the demos. I got a couple more slides left, and then we can get back to we can get to the Q&A session, excuse me. All right, so again, to reiterate, if you have any questions, please enter them into the questions box, and I will answer them in just a minute. And again, if I don't get to your question during the presentation, please email me your question at fba@dbservices.com. All right, there are a lot of ways you can stay in touch with us here at DB Services. If you have any questions or interested in any of our services, please email us at fba@dbservices.com. Our blog is at www.dbservices.com/articles. We're on Twitter at DB Services, and we're also on Facebook. The next FM Academy class will be presented by Alan Kurtlink from Skeleton Key. He will be presenting Using FileMaker from Anywhere, focusing on the pros and cons of FileMaker Pro, Go, WebDirect, and custom web publishing. That'll be next month, Tuesday, November 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You should be able to register by the end of this week on www.filemakeracademy.com. If you need any assistance or help with anything FileMaker related, please contact one of the FM Academy members that are listed here. Here is a list of their contact information. I'll leave this up for a second. Again, this video will be posted on the FM Academy website, so you know, you'll be able to get this list from a screen capture on that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the screen share, and I'm going to start answering some of the questions that have come in. All right. So, are there plans for a FileMaker Go product available for a Windows 8 tablet? tablet. At this time, as far as I know, there are not plans to have a FileMaker Go product for a Windows mobile device. FileMaker is, there are, I know that WebDirect, FileMaker is looking at WebDirect to try to be the place that you can deploy your FileMaker solutions to other mobile platforms besides iOS platforms. That currently is not supported, but I believe that that might be coming down the line here eventually. Is Go available for Droid users? That's same exact answer as before. As of right now, no, it's only available for iOS, but I would stay tuned. I'm sure you'll have more options as new versions come out. Okay, I missed the steps that you took to display your iPad on your Mac desktop. Could you review that for us? Sure. Let me get out a full screen here, and let's just go and close this guy. It's actually, we use here at DB Services an app called Reflector, which uses AirPlay to mirror what's on your iPad to your desktop. It's not a free app. There's a licensing cost. It's pretty cheap though. It's definitely, it's crucial for us in particular in our business because, how else can we demo iPad, or iOS device FileMaker solutions to people otherwise? So Reflector is what I did here, and let me see if I can show you the steps. I don't want to take up too much time here, but let's, okay. So once you have Reflector up and it's up, you'll just get a blank. It looks like nothing's going on, right? So how do you get the iPad to be shown on here? What you do is you drag up from the bottom, and this is assuming you're on iOS 8. iOS 7 was the same, but there was a different set of steps for older versions. And so down here what you'll see is AirPlay, and you just tap on that, and then you have access to any other Apple devices around that you can mirror your iPad to. And so you tap on the device you want to mirror to. In this case, I'm mirroring to Kevin's Mac Mini, and then you want to slide the little mirroring slide tool to the right, and then it should, once you do those two things, you should then see this iPad mirroring show up on your desktop, and that's what you do. So yeah, okay. Let's keep going here. Which barcode scanner did you use and what type of barcode? I believe the barcode, I think the barcode was a code 39. I do not know off the top of my head. It's been a minute since I printed, since I created that barcode. But I used a really common one. It was either UPC or, code 39. I'm not entirely sure. But the barcode scanner that I am using, let's take a look. It should be under the Bluetooth here. It's the KCD200 is the series that I was using. So what about the barcode scanning function at FileMaker? We've already done that. Okay. So how do you do a lookup for the tag data? This is going to get a little bit in depth, but we do have some time here. It's going to get, again, yeah. This took a little more work, but you ultimately have to use the relationship side of FileMaker to do it. Let me go and open up the inventory tracker here. Okay, so if I go to File and then Manage Database, if you'll notice up here there's three tabs. You've got your list of tables in the database. You've got your list of fields for each table, so you can toggle between tables to then see your fields. And so this is where you create your fields. And then you have relationships. So relationships are a crucial part of FileMaker. If you really want to build an app that's going to do a lot of efficiency gains for your workflow process, you're going to inevitably have to build some relationships to be able to relate data together and show that related data where appropriate. So in this case, if I scroll down to the inventory section here, what we did was we created a relationship. Let me just go ahead and show you how to do that. So down here, I'm going to make a new, what's called a table occurrence. So it's very likely, don't worry about it. Don't worry about understanding exactly everything I'm doing here. It takes, when it comes to FileMaker, there's two sections where people, it takes the most time for people to really understand what's going on. One of those is the relationship graph. The other one is scripting. But so just go ahead and get on, just breathe in a high level of this. So I'm making a new table here, a new table occurrence on the graph. So what I want to do is make a relationship based on asset number, so I can grab all the asset number information in the asset number table. So it's the financial asset table here is where all the asset numbers are. So I'm going to add a TO to the graph there, and we're using what's called an anchor buoy model on the relationship graph. And there's different ways you can model the relationship graph, and we can get into all sorts of debates on that, but that's neither here or there. It's not really the point of today's lesson. So we're going to use anchor buoy here. So we're starting from the inventory context. That's what the table is that's tied to the layout that I was showing you guys. And then as far as what this relationship is doing, the description of the relationship, we're doing things based on asset number. So starting from inventory, we're going to the financial assets, and it's based on inventory number. So I added the TO here to the graph. FileMaker automatically added a number 2 because I have this relationship already on the graph. But okay, so what we do now is that we connect the asset number to asset number between the two tables. So I just dragged, two fields together. And then if you click into the middle, the line that gets created, I click in the middle here, you can then see your relationship. So I did pick the right fields off the bat there. So I've got the asset number equals the asset number, and you'll notice you can do not is equal, does not equal to, or greater than, less than, whatever your relationship dictates, you can set that up. So asset number to asset number is what we did, and so we created the relationship. So what this relationship does now is it enables me to grab information from the related financial asset record based on asset numbers. So I'm going to go and save this. I'm going to press OK here. And then the final thing that you need to do once you've set up the relationship is you go back to Manage Database and you go to Fields, the Fields tab, and then you go and find the fields that should be, the data should be auto-populated. So let's look at serial number. I'm sure serial number is one of them. So you'll see here we have an auto-enter calculation. That's what you would actually, let me just go ahead and make another serial number table. Let's just serial number copy, serial number field, not table. So I'm going to make a copy serial number field just to demonstrate this. So right now it's just a regular field. There's no calculations on it. So you double click on it to bring up the field options. You have this auto-enter section here, and this is a way for you to auto-populate data into a field. So I could, if I check this box, I can auto-populate today's date when the record gets created, or I can auto-populate the date of when the last time the record was modified. There's a bunch of other things you can do here. In the case that we're talking about, we want to do the calculated value. So I'm now making an auto-enter calc here, and so I need to select up here on the top my relationship. So we go down and we find the inventory to financial asset based on asset number, the number 2, because that's the one I just made. And then now I'm looking at the financial asset fields in the related financial asset record, and serial number is right there. So we just double click, and that's all we need to do. So you just press OK, and I do want to replace the existing value. So if someone types in the asset number and it looks up data, but it ended up being the wrong one, they correct it. You want to make sure this is unchecked so that the serial number gets refired and re-looked up. So that is what we did for all the different fields that needed to be auto-populated. All right. Was the data in a separate file? No. FileMaker, the FileMaker file stores both the code that you build the layouts, the relationships, the tables, the scripts, and it also stores the data. It's all in one package. And that's one of the reasons why FileMaker is a rad, it's a rad platform. It's a rapid application development, because you have everything packaged together. There's no separate applications for the different various things you're doing. It's all wrapped up into one. You can do everything you need to do. Your layout design, your database design, you can do it all in FileMaker Pro. Can you put up your company slide again? I most certainly can. No problem. Excuse me, got a little bit of, there's the company slide. I'm not sure if that was the slide you're looking for, if you're looking for the FM Academy slide. We'll just full screen this. Okay. When you sync, can you just update fields in an existing record and add new records? Yes. Yes, you can. I am running out of time. We have about 4 minutes left, so I would show you that. Ultimately, what you do is, well, I guess I can just show you the idea. So let me go ahead and minimize this, and let's go back here. So when we did the import records, so I go to File, Import Records from File. Let me just select the mobile version again. So in this section right here, let's do the inventory to inventory, matching names again. So the import action right here is where, that's where you would change things. You want to say update matching records in found set, and then you would check the add remaining data as new records. So let's say that you want to make sure you don't, if you import the same offline file multiple times for whatever reason, you want to make sure you don't get duplicates in the system. So to do that, you do the update matching, and then for the arrow up here, you click on it until it becomes a double arrow. And I think on Windows it's a slightly different icon, but you have your legend down here to tell you what each of these arrows mean. So in this case, we're going to match based on this. This is the primary key of the table that we have here. And what we're doing, we're telling FileMaker, instead of importing a new record, making a new record, just update the existing record if there's already a record with this ID in it. So every record that you import from the offline file, FileMaker is going to go and look to see if the master has that matching ID. If it does, then it's just going to update that matching record. Otherwise, if it doesn't find it, it's going to make a new record. So that should take care of your problem there. All right. Ability to interact in Pages or Word or edit on an iPad. I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for there, but I do believe there's mobile versions of Pages and Word, so you can look at that. You can Google that and get more information about it. The webinar will be available on the FM Academy website under the past webinars. It'll be a YouTube video, so you can rewatch it, slow things down at your leisure. Okay, what storage option does this solution use for the container field? It looks like the image files are stored in the database. Is this optimal if the number of image files grows? Yeah, I mean, there's, when it comes, if you're storing a lot of container data, then you are going to need to make decisions about how to store it efficiently. Out of the box, the quickest way to get up and running with the FileMaker system is to just store the photos in the FileMaker file. And so it's just all like inside the .fp12. So if you go into Finder and you right click and you do get info and look at the file size, that includes all your images. You can store the images outside the .fmp12 file. There's an option under when you go to Field Options and Manage Database, you can say store this field external of the FileMaker file, and that'll work fine. And there's actually that is our go-to. That's our default here at DB Services when we make new systems. But when it comes to deploying a file to an iPad device or an iOS device, you can't use external storage. Everything needs to be bound up back into the FileMaker file. It's just a limitation with the iOS platform. So what you can do is that you can have your individual your offline copies in the case of iSigns, you can have those all one .fmp12, and then your master copy, you can specify to store that externally. Okay, well, that is, I still have a bunch of questions left, but that is everything we can get to today. So thank you for attending. Again, this presentation will be posted on www.filemakeracademy.com. Please sign up for the next FM Academy webinar in November. Thank you.